making sure that you get a good night's sleep or that you're eating properly, and those kinds of things that put you in the best mindset so that you can make thoughtful, more conscious and beneficial decisions for you and the people that you're serving. So.
Hello, and you're with Allan Clark on the 6-Star Business Podcast, where we have conversations about what it takes to be 6-star as a 6-star leader in a 6-star business in a 6-star world. And in today's episode, my co-host is Andra Hoffman, and we sat down with Allan Whatmore, the founder and CEO of a new startup called Banjula.io. He's also a father of a newborn baby. His daughter was 7 weeks old at the time of recording. We had a great conversation. He's naturally a giver, a purposeful leader, someone who strives to make a difference, and he loves connecting with others and learning in community, in circle. And what I love is that Banjula was born out of his own internal passions and belief about how we should live. There's no ego to this, there's no preachiness to it, but he's creating a mechanism in his business for others to become more purposeful, more sustainable, more conscious about the things they buy and how that impacts our planet and the future generations to come. So sit back and enjoy this conversation with Allan Whatmore. Well, hello and welcome. It's another episode of the 6-Star Business Podcast. Here we are. I'm Allan Clark, calling in from very sunny and chilly northern New South Wales. And I'm here with my co-host, Andra Hoffman. How you going, Andra?
Thanks, and good to be back again.
It's really good to have you. Our guest today is Allan Whatmore, and I've just learnt that he's quite close to you. We've got 3 Aussies on this podcast, which is a rare treat. So, Allan, it's so lovely to have you. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Good to have you here. Let's get this started. We love to ask our guests some questions to get to know you. So could you share with us where you are in the world and who you serve, how you serve them, and maybe something that you like to do when you're not busy serving people?
Yeah, sure. So, my name's Allan, founder of Banjula.io. So, for those who don't know, Banjula is an online marketplace for sustainable goods. And we tend to partner with brands that have a specific set of core values that differentiate them from traditional businesses. And we do so to make it easier for people to shop sustainably online. So, basically 2 sets of people that we serve. One is eco-conscious brands, so people that have those core values differentiating them from traditional businesses. So it could be that their products are vegan friendly, or they're made from recycled materials, or they're made in Australia, or they're made by a women-led business, and also eco-conscious customers, so people that are looking for products and being able to understand what it is that they're actually buying. So those are probably the 2 big things. I'm based here in Sydney, Australia. My partner and I, and when I'm not, let's say, working, I find myself spending time and enjoying time with my family. We've got an 8-week-old daughter, so it's our newborn, our first. So that's been really exciting. So if that answers the questions.
Absolutely, it does. Wow, you're a newborn and you look normal. You don't look haggard or tired. For
Yeah.
those who are listening to this podcast, he's looking pretty fresh.
Thank you. No, it's all the lighting. It's all the lighting, isn't it?
How are you finding the 8-week journey so far?
Yeah, it's crazy. It feels like probably 8 months. Like my partner and I was saying, I think particularly the first few weeks, just the adjustment and just the change in what your lifestyle looks like. So I think if any parents that are there in the audience, I'm sure you guys can relate. And I'm sure you guys did a whole bunch of research. We did a whole bunch of research into, things to do and what to expect. I don't think there's any amount of research that can prepare you for what the first few weeks looks like. I think we constantly felt like we were underwater. We couldn't focus on anything else. Like our number one priority was to make sure that we basically keep our darling alive. So yeah, it was crazy. But in 2 months alone, like the amount that's changed and the amount that we've learned, I think probably that's one of the reasons why it feels like it's been 8 months, just because we've learned so much. But yeah, we love it. We absolutely love it. So,
But what are the biggest learnings, Alan? If we start here, I'm really keen to understand. You are talking to two parents here. I've got two. Evelyn's got three. What were the biggest learnings out of this 2 months experience? I know your life must have been upside down and some challenges. Tell us.
yeah, for sure. Probably, and you guys will probably say this as well. Um, in when it comes to newborns, and uh, especially through the first few months, everyone almost has a specific way of doing things. Everyone has a specific point of view on certain symptoms, if they're crying, or if they're awake, or if they're asleep, or if they're frustrated, and then what you should do, right? And so for us, like we, especially the first few weeks, we were in hospital for probably 5 days, and it felt like every nurse or every person that came in had a specific way of doing things and a specific strategy, and so that was really challenging. And a lot of the time, we found sometimes the advice was conflicting. It probably wasn't, to be fair, because it was all for a good reason. But I think when you're in those sort of circumstances, you have adrenaline rushing through your body. You barely slept. You're running on fumes. It was just, yeah, it was challenging. And I think it just got to a point where I think it was day 3 or 4 that we just said, you know what, we're just going to do our own research and make decisions as a family. And that is just something that we're going to be consistent with across the board. And so immediately after doing that and researching and coming to that conclusion, you just feel like a big weight has been lifted off your shoulder, like there and then, because you're not at the grace or the whim of what someone else is telling you to do, hour by hour. It's something that you strongly believe in, and you're still open to feedback, and you're still looking for advice and tips and tricks, but you feel a lot more confident in what you're doing as opposed to not the case.
I love it, Alan. And have you been using this principle in your business since you started it?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, for those who don't, my background wasn't uh, technology or online marketplaces or sustainable retail. It was financial services and funds management. So, basically, when COVID first hit, I got made redundant from my role. And so I had a friend at the time who was trying to launch a business to business fintech in Australia, and he wanted help raising some money. And so I wasn't doing anything at the time. So I said, yeah, sure. We worked together for probably 2-3 months, and then he didn't end up choosing to pursue it. But I met a person along the way, a guy who owned a mining company in the US, that was an exploration company that was mining silver, manganese, and copper, and they were to be used in solid state batteries and battery materials. And it was just through that, I guess, through that process for us working together, I came across a lot of startups in the space, and so I had an idea at the time to start a marketplace for what was hemp. So if you think of cannabis, sativa, you've got the THC CBD side. This was the textile industrial side. So not having any idea essentially what we were doing to start off with, we just knew that we wanted to do it. And then basically we found along the way that the people that were interested in those products had very much a sustainable or eco-friendly type lifestyle. So then we pivoted the business to focus on the lifestyle as opposed to a single product, which is great because we could factor in vegan friendly products made from recycled materials that are Australian made, Australian owned. And that was a journey that we learned, or something that we learned along the way. Yeah, I think again, like you do as much research as you can up front, but I can imagine you guys would say the same. There's just lessons that you learn along the way in which, had you not been in that position, you may not have learnt that same skill set. And if you did, it may not have been to the degree that you did now, because you're applying it in a practical sense as opposed to just reading it or watching it theoretically, if that makes sense.
And how many products are available through your online space, or how many companies have been sort of selling through your website, Allan?
Yeah, sure. No, it's a great question. So we're a brand new startup in the sense that it's probably the website's been on a live URL for probably 4 weeks. We've got close to 40 brands that have, I guess, pre-registered or signed up with us that we're looking to onboard now. So we're still really, really, really fresh. So in terms of products, I couldn't tell you the exact number, but it would be uh, hopefully somewhere towards the 1,000 once we have onboarded all the vendors, and we also have a pipeline of new people and businesses that we're speaking to at the moment. So for anyone in the audience, if you know someone who has a business that sells sustainable goods, it may be goods that are plant-based, they might be plastic free, they might be palm oil free or contain no growth hormones, or they're made from natural or sustainable materials, we would absolutely love to hear from you. And if it's something that you're interested in, I can definitely send you through a link to a form to fill out, if that helps.
Thank you, Alan. And we'll definitely have all that info on the show notes after when we publish, so people can get in touch and learn more about it. I'm also thinking that your business would be amazing to uh, come along to our next Impact Circle in the Six Star world. We're launching an Impact Circle. There'll be one in July, and that's where people who have a business or a project or something that's about creating an impact want to present that in a open forum to get feedback, but also to see who resonates with that and what you can do to get to that next level of
Yes.
impact. So I'll talk to you more about that, because that exactly what you're doing is so important. And I'd love to help you. You know, here at Six Star, we'd love to help you to take this even further and allow it the space to grow in its greatest capacity, really, to bring it to life. Um,
Yeah, thank you. No, that's really nice of you.
Well, I'm really fascinated to know. You mentioned the mining uh, person from the US that you met along the journey. Was that person kind of like a trigger for you to really think about sustainability? Is that where it started, or did you always have a, a desire and an alignment with sustainability as an adult or a person?
Yeah, sure. So in previous roles, like I was always fascinated by the sustainable aspects of the industries that I'd worked in. So previously in financial services, the term ESG, or environmental social governance, it was a common term, and then that basically meant that managed funds or companies would basically screen out other companies that were involved in things like tobacco or pornography as a means of investing in a brighter future. And then probably as I was learning throughout the industry, I understood the value of impact investing, which is taking it that one step further and investing it in causes that are for good. So it might be like affordable housing or solar, wind, renewable energy, green bonds. And I was always fascinated by it because you could also see the business acumen or the commercial benefits, but still that's doing something that's benefiting the next generation. So that was always something that was fascinating to me. And so yeah, as we were building out the marketplace, that's one thing that we want to we want to be able to give people the best opportunity to actually know and learn about what they're buying. I think that was some feedback that we had at the start. Companies, terminology can be used really freely, and it can be very easy to picture yourself uh, in a certain light that you're doing something beneficial. And so for us, we're no one to be able to say or that something is sustainable or not, but we want to create the tools and give people the resources so that they can make their own informed decision. So if for instance, sustainability meant to me that all my products were vegan friendly, I would be able to go onto the website or the marketplace. I can filter and find all the products. In turn, if sustainability meant to me that all the products were made from recycled materials, I can also filter based on that. So I think in turn, like definitely by over the last year or so, we've really understood the value of being able to provide those educational resources to consumers, and in turn help them make those more informed decisions that will benefit the environment and help make the world a better place. So,
What drives you, Alan? What's that internal driver that's pulling you to do this?
yeah, sure. I think it's a good question. Probably there's a combination of things. I think uh, yeah, it's tough to put it down to one thing specifically, but I think just you almost learn more about yourself when you undergo a process like this, and it might be starting a new side hustle or an extra income or learning a new set of skills. And that is just being able to understand your capability and the difference that you can make to other people's lives. That is something in which I really find a lot of satisfaction in. And it's something that makes me happy, being able to speak to a customer or a brand and giving them something that helped them make a decision that impacted their business or themselves in a positive way, and then being able to share that with you is something in which gives you that sense of fulfillment to know that you did something to make a difference in someone else's life. And that's something that, yeah, I find that makes me happy. So
Just wanted to ask you, Anand, how about 6-star? What does this mean to you when you've seen the brand or you've seen the community? What does this resonate inside you?
yeah, I think I think for me, when you look at when yeah, listening, like hearing the term 6-star, for me, the first thing comes to mind is someone that by doing what they're doing, it's someone who loves what they're doing, and through by doing that, they're making a positive impact in someone else's life. I think to that is something that is 6-star. I think there are a lot of pathways that you can take in life, and some are a lot more challenging than others. And I think being able to go through those processes and going through the ups and the downs, I think in turn makes you a 6-star person, and makes your ambitions and what it is that you want to do 6-star, because not only are you doing it to benefit yourself, but you're also doing it to benefit others out there. So if that answers the question.
Alan, you're really warming up our hearts. You're already part of the family, I believe, because I I have a feeling I was already talking to a 6-star core team member here. And
uh,
how would you bring that into your space of online selling? This 6-star idea, or apply it to this, because 5-star and 6-star, we believe there's a big gap there. It's an absolutely new dimension of running business, running from or running from this place of purpose and contribution, as you said.
Yeah, definitely. I think for us, like we understand now, and we've learned along the way the value of input from your end customers, or our end customers in this sense. So that's brands and eco-conscious buyers. So ultimately, you can spend your time building something, but if it's not actually something that people will find of value, um, you'd ask you would find yourself in a position to say, are you really making a difference? So I think being able to really almost build to order, if that makes sense. And that's what I mean by that is being able to really ask your end customers, what are the biggest challenges that they're finding in their day to day? And is there something that you can do that's going to make it easier for them, that's going to help them either make money or save money? And it's something that's also going to be commercially viable for you to do as well. And I think if you were able to identify that in turn, that is a value in which I can imagine any business owner, and same for you guys as well, would find something that's of 6-star quality. So
Yeah. So what I heard was, actually communicating and reaching out and talking with your customers, and inviting that feedback loop and having that open channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. And I think, yeah, too, it can be really challenging to do because at the start, because you might hear feedback that you may not want to hear. Like it's also, it's great when you get good feedback, but when you get some constructive feedback, and sometimes it may not be the feedback in which you personally believe in, but ultimately it's something that you're building to help others, right? So if it doesn't help others and if it only helps you, then perhaps is there an opportunity to rethink your strategy in terms of is if that's what you wanted to pursue, to make a difference to someone else, or is that something
Mm.
that you find personal satisfaction in, and you can have more as a hobby, if that makes sense?
Mm. That's very selfless. And just what you just said, about if something doesn't serve others, then maybe and it only serves yourself, then maybe you've got to look at it again and see what else. You just said that so simply then, and I'm not sure if the listeners really heard what you said, but what you said was, to me, it's a 6-star mindset. It's a mindset of contribution, purpose, love, and impact. In other words, if what you're doing isn't serving someone else, then it's not worth doing because it's not all just about me.
Yes, yes, particularly. And I think as well, like, when people, depending upon what your upbringing has been or what your belief systems are, sometimes things are really ingrained into individuals' heads. And I speak from personal experience, and I'm sure that there's anyone out there that they had an idea of how a certain situation would play out, or they had an idea of a certain concept, and they found themselves surprised by uh, the feedback that they received from other people. And so I think that's one of the biggest things in which I think that any 6-star quality, or any individual who's going about their journey, will find as a continuous learning process. Sometimes it can be really easy to build system upon system and build it up to a stage where it's almost too complex for someone, and it almost gets too hard. And that's something you may have spent a lot of time in building. And so almost getting to a point where, less is more, and simple is better for most people, if not all. And if, again, you can do that, so by being able to help the other person and make a positive impact in their life and in yours, that's in which something that will give you the motivation to be able to keep going, even on the down days, or the days where everything might not be going so well.
And Alan, you simplified it beautifully. You said if you're not serving anyone else, then you've got a hobby. I love that. And so, what would you suggest for some people out there who are passionate about something that does not specifically serve anyone? What could they do?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think there is always a market for something, so to speak. Probably bar a few certain circumstances. So it's more just about evaluating your methodology and what the value proposition is to someone, and seeing what are the elements that they find most important or are the biggest pain points, and then focusing your efforts into those specific things. If you're in a position where your value proposition does 10 different things, but only 2 of them are of real value, you could argue and say that 80% of your time is being lost, or can be focused into the actual things in which they need or they find important. And the amount of I guess the amount of learning that you would achieve, the bigger results you would achieve in turn, is something which, just by making that self-evaluation and just checking in, will do anyone really well in the long term. So just being able to have those conversations with people and let them know if you're struggling. If you have a mentor, if you have a close friend or family member, being open and honest and transparent about your situation, so that you're in the best position to receive the most appropriate feedback for you. And that feedback may just be that you need to take some time to focus on yourself, whether that be, getting more sleep or eating better or having an exercise regime or routine, or being able to really spend some time to focus on yourself so that you could be in the best position to be able to help the next person.
You really do embody and live and breathe what you said, continuous improvement, but also living a life for the benefit of the world and other people. You really do. Andrew's had this smile on his face for most of this conversation. I think I have too. And I'm just so grateful that we cross paths, Allan, and that we've got you on the show today. I want to ask, how do you cope with the people that might say, "Oh, that's amazing what you're doing, Allan," but they just don't understand the mindset of helping others, and they're potentially just all about money, for instance, and lining their pockets. How do you navigate that?
Yeah, so I think the best companies in which you see that are the most successful, from my experience, are the ones that can do both those things that you've mentioned, in the sense that they have built something in which is helping someone else and helping them to the point that they themselves, who they're helping, can equally make either, whether it be a living wage or an additional income stream, which they didn't have access to before. So you take any of the big companies out there that it's that company in which provides a platform and a space for other people, whether they be creatives or service based, to be able to use that platform and then create their own value proposition for the next person to be able to help the next person. And that again also helps the next person in whom they're helping achieve their goal, whether it be increase their online presence or reduce their overheads or manage their finances or increase their personal and professional brand or give them an external perspective of which they never knew previously. So I think that's the optimum, the sweet spot almost that you look for, one where you're helping people achieve their goals, and in turn you receive some benefit of that as well, if that makes sense.
Allan, I'm fascinated to know what your thoughts are about, I guess, the future. You've got a fresh, innovative mindset, and you're in this a space that is growing in awareness and demand and importance. What do you see as being the maybe the challenges that we're facing, that you might face, that we might face moving forward in the next few years to, really make an impact?
Yeah, sure. I think it's probably, yeah, there's probably multiple variables. I think the biggest challenges, particularly in, retail, not just sustainability, is supply chain, being able to understand full transparency of not only what your product does or what it's made from, but where it came from, what was the the journey that it made from, right from whether it be seed to shelf, or um, really that end-to-end process. And that is something that is becoming a bigger focus, and there are technologies out there that are being built specifically to help with that, but that's something in which will incrementally grow over time. I think there's also economic pressures which can sometimes make it challenging for people to make more sustainable and environmentally friendly choices at this stage. um, you just think of most of the things that you come across in life. If you were to pick the sustainable option, it's not always the cheaper option. And I think that can sometimes make it challenging for people to make those choices, even though they are beneficial, because they also need to worry about, putting food on the table for their family at night. So I think those are some of the biggest challenges in which yeah, we will look to overcome as a collective.
Allan, what would be, let's say, 25 years from now? What would be the best case scenario in this space that you've just talked about? Where could we evolve on this planet by creating transparency and probably bringing all that in that you've talked about through businesses, and that you've had that space now where you have an impact or an opportunity to impact? How would you see us on this planet if we really go and follow this path?
Yeah, sure. I think it's challenging to say. Like 25 years is a long time, and there's a lot that can be done and a lot that can occur within that period of time. But I think generally people have always been inquisitive and will continue to be inquisitive. There will always be problems that arise that people will look to solve. Those solutions will then again have their own set of challenges that there'll be new solutions for. So I think everyone is always looking to be a better version of themselves, and so um, that's a good thing, because ultimately everyone as a society will evolve, but there will also be challenges that come off the back of that, in which yeah, as a civilization we will learn along the way. So um, yeah, if that answers the question.
Yeah, it does.
I like that, because what you're saying is we it really depends on our ability to learn from the impacts of our decisions and the collective impact of our collective decisions. So it's
Yes. Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say decisions sometimes have short-term benefits, or they may have long-term benefits, and just being able to balance that and knowing that everyone will have a view and everyone has an opinion and everyone has a reason to have that belief, and everyone also has a reason for that belief to be challenged, because yeah, if we didn't have those set of circumstances, then we wouldn't have the opportunity to grow. So
where do you see the people that don't have that mindset, right? That um, it's really a responsible mindset, okay, isn't it? Someone that takes responsibility for their own actions and are conscious, uh, and therefore care about what they buy, what they eat, where they buy from, where it comes from. To me, it's a it's an awareness that one needs to have, and also an attachment to their outcomes. So, like I said, that sense of responsibility. And I look at the world, and just the perception that I get is that there are people at one end of the spectrum completely detached from responsibility, live a very plastic, disposable life. Oh, the toaster's, you know, it's got a scratch on it. I'll just throw it out and I'll buy another one from Kmart at $15, versus the person that just keeps using that toaster until the end of its life, right? So we've got people at one end of the spectrum, we've got people at the very other end. And I personally think about this and wonder, will those people kind of come together, or will the people that are completely in the disposable, fast, detached life ever move over here? Or will we always have polarity between people or groups in society? I'm wondering what your thoughts are about that.
yeah, sure. I think yeah, it's an interesting point of view. I think that one of the biggest benefits of having from experience, a sustainable mindset towards your the way you shop or the way you sell is that um, if particularly if you live a lifestyle outside of, let's say, buying or selling products, being able to reuse something as opposed to repurchase is generally a cheaper option. And so, we talked earlier about the fact of, if you're in a position where you can save money as opposed to have to spend money that you may not have had to, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I think as time goes on, if there are new and innovative ways for products, again, to when put side by side with a like for like single use, if they are within a accessible price range, if they functionally work at the same level and or better than the like for like single use product, and they're also sustainable, I think that's probably the optimum sweet spot in which a lot of people, it would be a very easy decision to then purchase a sustainable product or make that sustainable decision, so to speak. So I think over time, we'll see technology make it easier for people to make those decisions. There will be resourcing for people to be able to take advantage of those lifestyle choices that will in turn help them save money and protect the environment as well. So
Amazing. Brings me back I was born in Europe, and in the 70s and 80s, I remember at those times we were collecting used bottles, and they've been reused, I think, over 100 times. Beer bottles and every other type of glass type of packaging. They didn't have a problem doing that. Now, you mentioned bringing in new innovations. I think certainly it has a lot of space, and I think it's sometimes a lot to do with taking responsibility for businesses that are larger organizations, especially in the food and beverage industry. And I was wondering how that could come back, as opposed to what I see here in Australia. They collect a lot of waste, and then they invest a lot of energy and effort into pretty much come up with the same product and then package it again. What are your thoughts about this idea of really start finding ways, and maybe your business could be creating awareness or a campaign? I'm not putting seeds into your head, but I would love to then bring that into consciousness and start really change the way smaller or larger organizations looking at environment and us.
yeah, sure. I think you could say there's businesses in which are looking to integrate sustainability more and more into their model, which is really, really good news. And there's also businesses which have sustainability almost as the model, and every decision stems from that. So I think the awareness that you speak of, so to speak, is something that is becoming of bigger interest to people, investors, operators, regulators. The public community are becoming a lot more aware, particularly if you're doing something that isn't benefiting the environment as well. That is becoming even more aware. So I think, naturally we're getting better. There's still definitely a long way to go, but I think we're better. I think there's definitely a lot to learn from other countries that you speak of as well and what they do. And I think being able to make it practical for people so that they don't necessarily have to feel guilty about making a decision, but instead, how can we make it more sustainable than it is today, if that makes sense? So it's an ongoing piece. It's not a one fix, so to speak. So always being able to look at yourself and say, okay, how can I make this better? How can I reduce my footprint? How can I educate the next generation to continue on? And how can I put myself in a position where I'm always looking at how I can improve things for my end customers and for the environment as well?
I love that. It's an ongoing campaign. It's just ongoing. And to that end, Alan, I'm wondering, let's sort of zoom out, get some 30,000 foot view here. What's the utopian view for what you're doing? So if in the moments where you've sort of sat back with the creative wall and you're planning it out, and I'm imagining that you've done this, what would be the ideal scenario? Is it that every single person or every single business has some kind of sustainability driver and principle in their operations? What does utopia look like?
Yeah, I think it's always evolving again. Like as you learn more about what the challenges are, you look for ways and solutions that you can help to solve those problems, and then again in turn you find other problems that stem from that you look for solutions for. So I think it's again to answer the question, it's always evolving and ongoing. But I think if you can, having that mindset, it is almost like a continuous utopia in the sense where the work you're doing is actually making a difference to someone, and just knowing that that is something that brings you happiness and fulfillment. And for that reason, you want to continue doing that because you can continue making a difference to someone's life and get that constant set of satisfaction or just general happiness. So
I remember you said, Alan, that you've been doing a lot of research in this space. Have you been finding a lot of some European nations, I believe, are quite conscious about sustainability and environment friendliness? Have you found a lot of ideas and concepts that is really time to bring in and apply here in Australia?
uh yes, I think you can always see opportunities for like us as a country, for if that's what you're referring to, in order to be a better version of ourselves. But I think in when it comes to decisions that need to be made, uh, at a governance level, there's so many variables again that impact what those decisions are. So I think at the same time, you if you if you look at yourself in the position that you're in and just think about the difference that you could make as an individual, and knowing that the more people that understand that capability and the fact that they can make a difference, if there's more of that style of behavior that was to occur, then as a collective, that would put us in the best position to be able to be more sustainable. I think again, like it's an ongoing thing in the sense that you could say specifically that there's one thing that we need to do and we should be doing, but to be able to say that that puts us overall in the best position can be challenging because there's multiple variables that impact that decision. And so I think being able to have sustainability as a lead pillar into the decisions that are made, and having that as a continuous focus alongside with really understanding the difference that you can make as an individual and working towards that, I think those two things together is what will continue to put us as a country and as a globe in the best position to be able to grow and give the next generation a better lifestyle than we have today. So
Mm. I like how you have continually focused on the individual, as in it comes down to the individual person to make. That's where the shift occurs, right? It's with
yes.
the individuals making better decisions. Is your focus Australia at the moment?
Yes, yes, correct. So Australian brands, Australian customers, and we did so intentionally so that we can build up awareness and really make the buying and selling experience the best that we possibly can. So I think one thing for us is we're very much still in our early stage of having launched the website and launched the business, but the other side of that is really working hard to make sure that customers get their packages on time. Again, having that service function like for like, if not better than the traditional services, and at the same time being able to have a focus towards sustainability and benefiting the environment. So
Mm.
that essentially is something that for us is really important. So we look at every company whether they are particularly sustainable or not is something that is there something that we can learn from that business in what it's doing to help serve its customers, and if we can do the same, if not more, and at the same time have a focus on benefiting in the environment, is something that is a continuous focus for us. So,
Alan, individuals and also have individuals we've mentioned, and I always see a specific type of individuals, business owners and business leaders, that they have a position that could shift mindset, and I believe not just them shifting themselves, but able to create and drop new concepts, new ideas, and probably get more into educating people. How do you see yourself in creating education for a greater and greater number of people to then change the things they are running here, or as far as sustainability here in Australia?
yeah, sure. I think just being probably to just being in a position that you can share your learnings and things that you've learned along the way in doing whatever it is that you've been doing. So, and yeah, that benefiting the next person. So I think education ultimately is a sense of sharing, whether it be wins or losses, successes or failures. That's someone who has gone through that process, learned a whole bunch of lessons, and is passing that on to the next person effectively. So, and that's any kind of education. Like there's the education you go through yourself, but you also learn through the experience of others. So I think if you are in a position that you can share your experiences with others, it may not be the necessarily exact situation that they're also facing, but it will definitely give them things to think about, that will help them potentially make a better decision, throughout their business or personally as well. So,
That's really interesting from Andrew, what you were saying about small business owners and the influence they have on the staff and their customers. And then, Alan, what you're just saying and what I was feeling into is customers that I work with, and thinking, well, how would they communicate those learnings that you were talking about, Alan? Because it's important to communicate learnings in circle, in groups, and whether that's our team, so our workplace, or it's our customers. So it sounds to me what you're saying is it's important for business owners and others, just individuals, to share learnings. So in order for this education piece to be really made, I guess for it to be playing out effectively, people in positions of influence, and especially your customers, business owners, it's up to them to talk about this in some forum, whether it's in a staff meeting, or the meetings they have with their clients somehow, or the communications to share what's going on in these levels. And I feel like it's a shift, because most business meetings, okay, from experience as well when I was in the corporate world, a leader just focuses on KPIs, profitability, and that's it. Whereas what you're saying is, let's actually have a slightly different conversation, or add different elements to this conversation. So yes, you can talk about KPIs and profitability, but let's actually talk about the ECG, sustainability, and what we are doing around that, what it means, and then allowing others to share what they're doing as well. Would that be right?
yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
is
And
that
you're seeing, like, to the point, like more and more business shift towards a community based mindset, in the sense that your customers are your biggest fans essentially. And so, how is it that you can create a safe space for them to come together and share their learnings amongst themselves? So, um, and you just see, success with a lot of businesses that have, whether it be Facebook groups or a Slack channel or a really open feedback system or a forum, essentially user-generated content that is actually of the people that are finding it of value. And that in turn helps build trust, because people can see I'm not just the only person that's going through these set of circumstances. There's other people like me who are finding similar challenges, and this is what they've learned. And this is now I've got this resource, or I've got this information that I can also ask questions to and ask for help whenever it's needed as well. And I think that is something in which, as an influencer or as a business owner, you can really make a difference to not just one, but a large group of people.
So is this, Alan, part of your strategy going forward in the next few years about really bringing in awareness and maybe teaching businesses, business owners, and of course through them, their customers or clients?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like for us, we're always open to feedback on ways that we can be better as a business, and just be better people in general for our customers. So for that reason, we always ask openly for feedback. If anyone does have any feedback who's in the audience today, we would also love to hear that as well. So um, I think that is probably a quality in which I think as a business owner or anyone, if you can be open to receiving feedback and noting it down and potentially taking time after the meeting or after you've received it to really think about it logically and what it is that you can do to improve, I think that will serve you really well, and I'm sure that you'd be really grateful to have heard that in the end. So
That's really constructive and thought well thought through. Obviously, from a lot of experience, Alan. And I love that continuous learning uh, aspect of what you're talking about and how we can. And I think there is a lot of opportunity for business owners to communicate on a different level than they currently are with their ecosystem, their community, around them, as in their employees, their customers, and others. And I see that as a really big opportunity moving forward. Um, and it's one that we've kind of talked about inside Six Star around education. And it's not just the topic of education, it's the channel and method of education as well. So that excites me. I'm conscious of the time. We're almost at the top of our recording hour. Andrea, did you have any other questions or comments for Alan as we come into a close?
I was wondering, Alan, what could we call these golden nuggets that you could drop for the audience that you've learned or that you want to share, that is attached to your name or your experiences, that would love them to take on, apply in their businesses and their minds or their thinking, to then take their business to that 6-star level that I think you already have, to be honest.
yeah, no, thanks. I think probably there's a couple of things. I think if you if there's anyone in the audience that is in a position where they feel flat or a plateau, to take time and write down everything that you're doing, and then really think about what you enjoy doing and then what you don't enjoy doing, and then assess the value of how it helps you and helps others in terms of what you love to do and what you don't like to do. And if there is anything that you are doing that isn't providing you with value and that's not going to help you in the long term and you don't like doing it, then that's something that evidently you can put to the side or completely remove, and that'll free up some time. Or find ways that you can build it into your existing either way of working or structure that will set you up so that you can be in the best position to succeed when you're actually doing it. And so, and it's definitely a lot easier said than done. But I think one thing is being able to ensure that you have a close network of whether it be friends or family members that you can discuss things in an open forum, and they can let you know if they find something or if they're seeing something in which you may not be seeing because you're so personally invested and you're so involved at the time. And again, like I said earlier, it might be something like just going for a walk, or giving a friend or family member a call, or making sure that you get a good night's sleep, or that you're eating properly, and those kinds of things that put you in the best mindset so that you can make thoughtful, more conscious and beneficial decisions for you and the people that you're serving. So
That's definitely a massive gold nugget, isn't it, Andrew?
Very powerful,
Mm.
Alan.
I actually had the visual of like the list of all the things, and then another column, the value, then another column was the, how it's serving others or not. And, is this going to serve me in the future? And I just had this kind of visual structure there. And I'm going to do that exercise. It's important. I think in the past, a lot of the self-analysis tasks or tactics have all focused on kind of feeling good, money, and values only. But you've added the next dimension, which is how does it serve others? And then looking at that one along with, does it bring value to my life? Does it match, my values, etc.? And I think that's a really, really powerful exercise. So thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, and also the getting feedback from mentors and the close circle, and being open to that, because you're right, we need it. We can't survive without that feedback, and we're not islands. We've got to embrace our ecosystem and having a tribe around us, and there are many different roles in that tribe. And the sooner we open up to that, and I've done this personally. I know Indra has. There are amazing people around us, and it's just such an enriching, fulfilling, safe, and rewarding way to live.
Yes.
I think that's how I would describe my experience of that. Thank you, Alan. What a awesome conversation today. You've brought a lot of things to this conversation that surprised me. I'm always surprised. It's always an adventure. And Indra, thank you for your input and insight as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, Alan, and having you as somehow a part of the Six Star movement. And I'd love to support you moving forward with Banjula. It's an amazing initiative, and I'm really excited for you and grateful.
Thanks, Evelyn and Andre. I appreciate you guys taking the time to catch up with me, and just from the way that you guys conduct yourselves and the value that you offer, I can definitely tell, and I know that the audience truly appreciates it. So if this is for anyone, if this is the first time that you're listening to this channel or podcast, please do well to go and visit previous episodes. And if there's any questions that you've got for myself, feel free to send me a note. And thank you again for this opportunity.
Thanks, Alan. It was great. And I hope to see you very soon and regularly.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Thanks
Thanks.
so much, guys.
Thank you.